All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the party. Today is Friday, thank goodness, August 22nd, 2025. This is episode 940 of Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast. I am your host, Dr. Gerald Auger, and over the next hour, me, you, friends like Space Tacos, Phil Stafford, Kimberly Can Fix It, Jenny Housley, Dan Reardon, the Haircut Fish, Justin Gold from the Upstate or the Midlands. I don't know what we classify this as. I think it's the Midlands. Guys, we're all going to be shredding the top cybersecurity news stories of the day alongside all of our friends, and we're going to be going deeper beneath the headlines to basically data mine out insights from all of our experiences to level everybody up in the community. It's all about good times. This is your Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Brief. Guys, I'm coming to you live from the remote studio here in Columbia, South Carolina. Got a conference to speak at later today, hence why I'm not wearing a cybersecurity t-shirt and why the studio is what it is. I had a great time last night. Mike Holcomb was there, Ryan Trusky, Paul Imey, lots of good people in the community and friends and high fives going around. It is the Midlands. All right, thanks, Justin. All right, guys. Just want to let everybody know if today's your first episode, drop a hashtag first timer in chat, hashtag first timer in chat. We love welcoming our first timers. We love letting you guys know all the things that are going on, and we like to celebrate you because we have special sound effects, special emotes, special just for you, because we want you to feel included and welcome at our community, because it's gonna, potentially be your community too. So drop a hashtag first timer mods. If you see it, let me know, and I can call it out there. I am on the laptop, which means the screen real estate's pretty limited up in this piece. So we're doing the best we can with it. I want you to know every single episode, including this episode of Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast, is worth half a CPE. So say what's up in chat, grab a screenshot, file it away once a year, count the number of screenshots, divide by 2, and we will, basically those are your CPEs. You can get up to 120 CPEs. There's Mike Holcomb. I see him in chat right now. Mike, I actually sent you a link on LinkedIn on, the back room of the studio here if you want to join us in the studio for 9 a.m. Eastern time. Really quick, I guess Mike Holcomb is a first-timer, so let's go ahead and do what we do, Simply Cyber community. Let's welcome Mike Holcomb. Welcome to the party, pal. Welcome to the party, pal. Old John McClane. Where's the John McClane emotes in my tray? Oh, there it is. Mike Holcomb. Good to see you, buddy. All right, now, really quick before we get into the show, let's pay the bills. Let's say shout out and love to the stream sponsors. Just remember, today is Friday, which means during the mid-roll, we're actually going to be delighted with some original dad jokes coming to us from James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet, community member and dad joke extraordinaire. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, we have the Jawjacking panel. As I mentioned, Mike Holcomb might be joining us. I've also sent Ryan Chapman a link to it. He had mentioned potentially joining us for today. So somebody wake up Casually Joseph and let him know that that's going down. All right, let's quickly pay the bills, guys. I want to say shout out to Barricade Cyber Solutions and their Fortify 365 solution. Guys, basically, listen, if you're running an M365 instance and you haven't properly configured it, like you've just turned it on, packets started flowing, email started coming in, and you said, you know what, I've done enough work here today, let's go. You are actually exposing yourself to massive risk for no reason, since you've already paid for the configurability of the security settings in your M365 tenant. So go to Fortify365.com today, connect with Eric Taylor, have a conversation. What would it look like for him and his team to come in and harden your environment? This is left of boom stuff, guys, okay? You set it and forget it. It's a left of boom security setting. Some things you will have to manage, but like conditional access, make sure your logging's good and all that stuff. Just come on, jump on it, get on it, Fortify365.com today. Also want to tell you about Antisyphon training and their virtual Blue Team Summit coming out. This is on August 27th, so 5 days from today. You still have time, okay? 5 days from today, the Blue Team Summit's going on. This is a 5-hour virtual cybersecurity conference. Great networking opportunity, okay? Like, networking is always good, especially Antisyphon's summits. They do a great job of making it feel as close to like the in-person experience as you can get. You can register for free. You can attend. You can come and go as you please. Maybe you have a meeting or something you got to dip to. No big deal. This is a community thing, right? Get some value. Also, shout out to the Simply Cyber community members who are representing about half of the agenda for this conference. So supporting all of you. Congratulations to you speakers out there who are going to be there. So I'm excited. At minimum, do what I do. Register for the conference. Get it on your calendar. If you don't go, you're not out any money. It's not like Kathy Chambers is going to email you and be like, you registered for this and didn't show up. No soup for you. Like, you're done with Antisyphon. That's not going to happen, okay? All right. And then, of course, holler at you, Threat Locker. Let's do the Threat Locker ad read. I'm going to be buzzing in chat. And then we'll do the delete me at the mid-roll with the jokes there, okay? So let's do this. I'll be back in a minute. I want to give some love to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief sponsor, Threat Locker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Well, worry no more. You can harden your security with Threat Locker. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust Threat Locker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. Threat Locker takes a deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based Cyber Heroes support team. Get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how Threat Locker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit threatlocker.com/dailycyber. Yes, sir. That is Threat Locker. Quick shout out. It's not guaranteed yet, okay? And I know that Simply CyberCon is separate from Simply Cyber, but Threat Locker has reached out about potentially sponsoring the conference. So shout out to them and appreciate their community support. All right, guys. Hey, Code Brew. I'll talk to Kathy and see if she can personally email you to remind you. Oh my gosh. All right, guys, I want to hear the dad jokes of the day, but first we got to do the news, so let's get through that. Do me a favor. Space Tacos. This one's for you. Coffee cup cheers from Team Sippy Cup. Do me a favor. Sit back, relax, and let's let the cool sounds of the hot news wash over us in an awesome way. I will see all of you at the mid-roll. Let's cook.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Friday, August 22nd, 2025.
All right.
I'm Steve Prentice.
I'm Steve Prentice.
Apple urges iPhone, iPad, and Mac update ASAP. This update, identified as 18.6.2, responds to a vulnerability that affects image I/O, which, quote, lets applications read and write most image file formats. This lets your device know how to process and display a photograph or other image. Apple says, quote, processing a malicious image file may result in memory corruption, and that means that an attacker could exploit a flaw in image I/O by creating an image designed to corrupt your device's memory. They could then run malicious code and even install spyware. Apple further states, quote, the flaw may have already been used in an extremely sophisticated attack on targeted individuals, end quote.
All right. All right, so this is cool. First of all, Space Tacos with the super chat. Thank you, Space Tacos. Sippy cup, cheers, Jerry. Happy Friday. This coffee is like blistering hot right. You can even see the steam coming off of it. As much as I love a cup of coffee, I'm going to wait so I don't injure myself on that. Okay, so first and foremost, the key thing here is make sure that you're running at 18.62, which is what I am, right? You want to patch your stuff, of course. This is a straight up, you got to patch it. Do I have it in here? There it is.
You got to patch
it. Right. This affects iPad OS and the Mac OS, right? So, a lot of times executives, even though you're a Windows shop, quote unquote, a Windows shop, your executives are running around on iPads and iPhones and, MacBooks because they're special snowflakes and they need that. Also, you might even find Apple products in the like the marketing department, or if you have like editors and designers, people who are doing like intensive graphic stuff, that could be a problem. Hold on, Nintendo dropping some love here. I don't see exactly what happened, but based on passing the CISP, oh yeah, dude, congratulations. Nice job. Congratulations, dude. The CISP is a tough one. I do remember earning my CISP and how excited I was. In fact, I I continue to maintain my CISP. It's the only cert that I continue to maintain from nostalgia purposes. So congratulations, dude. Super pumped for you, and I hope that unlocks opportunities for you. Two things I want to tell you about this one. One, obviously, I already mentioned, like finding these devices in your environment is important. The likelihood, really, from a GRC perspective, the likelihood of someone in your environment being targeted right now is probably unlikely. As they mentioned, it's a extremely sophisticated type attack. And it's just, you're not going to be able to go to GitHub and download one of these malicious images and be able to fire it to like your friend and like take over their phone and change their wallpaper to something silly, right? This is secret squirrel, nation state level type stuff. So obviously you want to get on the newest version. I will tell you from my experience, telling an end user to patch their phone because of a security vulnerability doesn't always hit well. It's not lying, okay? Just to point this out, it's not lying. But if that same update introduces like a new emoji or makes the phone faster or unlocks some feature, which a lot of times they do, you can highlight that, right? Because that's much more interesting and appealing to an end user than, hey, you might get hit by some advanced, sophisticated threat actor. Okay. The other thing I want to tell you about really quick, and I do want to spend a minute on this. Remember, if you're new here, what we like to do is go beneath the headlines, and I love educating and I love providing insights to everybody of any experience level. This one's interesting. You might ask yourself, how can a picture or an image take over a phone? That makes no sense, right? That's crazy talk. Well, remember, okay, every file, right, whether it's an image file, an executable, whatever, it's just data put together, and the file has a format, right? So that's why, like, when you run a .exe, Microsoft Windows knows what to do because there is a file format that, it's like a famous file format, the PE file format, and there's certain headers to it. It's just like a network packet. There's headers, there's data, there's this does not run in MS-DOS, right? Like there's all sorts of things. So with an image file, like a PNG or JPEG or whatever, there's file formats, and this threat actor has discovered that the app on the iPhone or in the OS that takes that file format, runs through it, not the file format, it takes the file, but it reads the file data in the file and then renders it and sends it to the display. That's what's being attacked right there. The threat actors have discovered that they can put some type of malicious code inside the file itself, right? Like in the data probably of the file. And we've seen data get hidden in images all the time with steganography, right? So if you want to go look at that, you can see how easy it is to hide data. Although you wouldn't hide malicious code in steganography and have the engine render it. That's a different technique. But my point is, when this engine renders it, there's obviously some validation that's not being performed that allows that code to execute. I have a high confidence that the fix that Apple pushed in this 18.6.2 is basically some type of validation in that image render engine to confirm that the data is not, in fact, malicious, or not malicious, but it's been meddled with or tampered with, or it doesn't even read that data section of the file. All right, let's keep cooking.
Scattered spider operative gets 10 years and a big fine. 20-year-old Noah Michael Urban has been given the sentence for pleading guilty to charges related to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. He faces an additional 3 years of supervised release following his sentence and has been ordered to pay $13 million in restitution to victims. Urban has a long history of cybercriminal activity even prior to being a member of Scattered Spider, detailed in a blog post by Brian Krebs. Urban also has called the sentence unjust, alleging, quote, "The judge purposely ignored my age as a factor because of the fact another Scattered Spider member hacked him personally during the course of my case," end quote. This was indeed the fact, as Krebs quotes another judge from the court as saying, quote, "The court's password business is handled by an outside contractor, and somebody called the outside contractor representing Judge to me saying, I need a password change. And they gave out the password change. That's how whoever was making the phone call got into court." End quote.
Okay, so two things. One, like, I guess if I was being tried in a court case, I would say all the things for my benefit, like, but this dude's argument is so thin. He's literally 20 years like Gen Z. Is this Gen Z, I guess, or Gen Alpha? Like, what are you doing? Okay, and I'm not trying to paint the entire generation here, but my point is, you're 20 years old. You're an adult, dude. Like, the judge didn't take into account my age and it was too harsh with your penalty. Buddy, you are hacking large companies. You caused devastation. People lost their job. People lost money. Like, you owe $13 million in restitution. Those are big boy crimes, and you made big boy choices. And when it comes time to be punished, you get big boy punishments. 10 years? Like, I'd argue, like, that's crazy. And to say like, oh, the judge was hacked and didn't take my age as like a personal vendetta. Buddy, you're 20, 10 years. I don't know. Like, I don't think the judge getting hacked had anything to do with anything. I will tell you, okay, a couple things. The cat's out of the bag a little bit on like what ransomware is and how lucrative it is and everything like that. So this harsher penalty isn't going to like cause extra attention to come down from mainstream, society or anything like that. I hope this sends a shocking ripple through the cybercrime community, as this is a thing. I do think, this is Scattered Spider. I think they're loosely affiliated with Lapsus. They're young, okay, and I don't want to say they're brash, but they are young and very haughty, Haughty. They're very just bombastic, perhaps. Like, so, like this is a thing. They're young and they're so this guy getting 10 years, he'll be out at 30, probably a little sooner than that. The young people in this gang, like, I don't know if this is going to deter them from committing crime, right? Like, I will say that this dude, I have to imagine that people are going to stop visiting him, or no one's going to visit him in jail. Because, like, if you're a criminal, right? If his friends are all criminals, I don't know if I'd want to go to a jail, you know what I mean? And kind of put myself on that list or that you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think I'd want to bring that kind of attention to myself. But yeah, when I was 20, I certainly didn't have $13 million. But yeah, no, these are real crimes, dude. Good. I am excited, dude. Hold on, let's do this.
Regulators, mount up. It was a clear black night, a clear white moon. Warren G was on the streets.
Yeah.
Trying to consume.
Oh yeah, this is the other thing to take out of this. I forgot about this, but there's this group called the comm. It's being referred to as the comm, and it's basically like a loose alliance. It's almost like like in comic books when the villains team up and make like a super villain team. That's kind of what this is right here. Shiny Hunters, Lapsus, Scattered Spider, and others are forming this affiliation called the comm. It's like basically like a union for these individuals to share techniques and stuff like that. So not good for us, obviously, but whatever. Law enforcement doing their things. This is the only, like, literally, it's one of the techniques. Arresting all these people is not the only technique. There are other more extreme ones, but this is an effective technique for sure. It just takes so long.
Microsoft seeks customer feedback on SSD failure issues. This request follows on from this month's security update in which some customers experienced failure and data corruption issues affecting their solid-state drives, SSDs, and hard disk drives, HDDs. Microsoft says it is aware of reports regarding the data corruption and failure issues, but that, quote, it could not reproduce the issue on up-to-date Windows 11 24H2 systems, end quote, and as such is now looking to collect user reports.
All right. I mean, really quick, if you installed this patch and it bricked your device, Microsoft wants to know. I don't know. Good luck with that. If I installed this patch and it bricked my device, I'd be more worried about getting my data back and getting my system fixed and everything like that than, unless Microsoft makes it like a one-click, hey, send some information to Microsoft. Sure, why not? But I'm not going to like go around my elbow to get to my butt so I can send Microsoft a feedback on this thing. This is a great opportunity to remind everybody, okay, make sure you're backing up your data, okay? And I know that's so basic and so, oh my God, I roll Jerry, but seriously, like whatever data you have, and this is why cloud is so cool, right? Whatever data you have, make sure that you have access to it in more than one way. I'm specifically thinking of like your personal photos, like sensitive documents, anything like that. Like, dude, the reality is when data goes bad, it's a crappy day. It's a really crappy day. So just public service announcement reminder to back your stuff up. Obviously, businesses should be backing your stuff up. I've never really encountered a business that wasn't doing backups. The only things I've ever seen is, and if you've ever encountered this, drop a preach in chat. The only things I've really ever seen is they never tested their backups, and then the time comes to do the backup restoration, and they can't do it because the tapes are bad or the data was bad. It was tape. What I'm talking about was tapes, but so yeah, make sure you're restoring. Even just practicing, if you really want to get super intense, this is a big decision. But if you want to get super intense, migrate to your DR, do your DR scenario, restore systems from backups, and run on those alternative systems for like a week, and then you'll have to migrate the data back into your prod environment. But I'll tell you what, if you're going to have any type of like hiccups during a DR scenario, they'll come out if you actually work through them versus just talking about them. Wade Wells is in chat. Good morning, Wade Wells. I was actually talking you up yesterday at the speaker dinner I was at.
AI crawlers and fetchers place heavy burden on the web. A new report from cloud services company Fastly says that AI crawlers, quote, account for 80% of all AI bot traffic, with the remaining 20% used by AI fetchers, end quote. Together, these can demand data from websites up to thousands of times per minute. The report points a finger squarely at Meta's AI division, which accounts for more than half of the crawlers, and also points at OpenAI, which is responsible for the majority of on-demand fetch requests. Fastly senior security researcher Arun Kumar says in the report, quote, AI-driven automation risks are becoming a blind spot for digital teams, end quote.
All right. I mean, dude, this has been going on for a little while. Like, there's also stories like Reddit is pissed off that AI is scraping all the content in Reddit. You're getting into like legal concerns around who owns that data, copyright, all that stuff. But the AI, dude, like part of the AI benefit is that it can help you do things, but the data it's trained on is super valuable. As these generative AIs continue to like compete against each other, having better data is kind of like a competitive advantage, right? So just again, think about it from a business perspective. Legally, there's nothing stopping them from doing this. Financially, it benefits them to do this. So why would they stop? They're not going to. And low key, this is like, it's not a denial of service attack, but it's kind of similar, right? If you just think about like what's actually happening here, the AI engines are smacking, like making 39,000 a second queries on websites. Now, if you're Amazon.com or Netflix or whatever, fine, you have the infrastructure to handle that load on your servers, right? Like you have load balancers and stuff like that. If you're like simplycyber.io or you're like, Jeans burgers or whatever, you know what I mean? Like or Joel Belton's ice cream shop or like, dude, this will blast your company off the internet. So it is, I don't know, it is concerning. I will say I don't know if denial of service defense capabilities would actually address this. You can use like Cloudflare and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean this is basically a denial of service attack. The thing is, the AI companies could just throttle back. They could just throttle back, right, and make less 39,000 requests a minute. They could make less requests a minute. It's a configurable value, but again, why would they? They have a perverse, literally a perverse incentive to do 40,000 a minute, 100,000 a minute. They just need to do enough that doesn't denial of service the website, so they're not like a threat actor. But yeah, that's what's going on. Not to mention, can I just point out really quick, all this AI stuff, it's a ridiculous amount of energy. Like it's so much energy that is being used to like run these models and stuff. Kathy Chambers was telling me that like she's heard that some of the AI people or companies or whatever are asking you not to necessarily be polite to the AIs. Like you don't need to say please or thank you because the AI doesn't care. And if you do say please and thank you, it's like more input that the AI has to process, which is more energy it has to spend for no value. So just kind of a funny situation here. Kyle says, can you deprioritize their traffic? So technically, that is one technique for handling denial of service attacks and load. The problem is, or in this case, I don't know if Meta and OpenAI are necessarily making their IP ranges or the IPs that they're using for these crawlers publicly known. Again, they don't have like it would be righteous and it would be good human practice to share those IPs and let them know so they could be deprioritized from a quality of service. But in reality, OpenAI doesn't care. Meta doesn't care. It's all about straight cash, homie. Straight cash, homie. Right? So hold. All right, hold on. It's hotel Wi-Fi. Hotel Wi-Fi. All right, I think I'm back up and running. Friggin' thank you, Marriott Bonvoy. All right. I don't know what I was doing. Yeah, anyways, their denial of service attack, masking as AI. Let's go.
Huge thanks to our sponsor, Conveyor. Does logging into a portal security questionnaire feel like punishment? Conveyor gets that. Other solutions offer browser extensions that require you to do all the copy-pasting. It's slow, tedious, and frustrating. Conveyor takes care of it all for you. Their AI auto-scrolls, finds every question, and fills in accurate answers, all automatically. And also, their AI completes security questionnaires of any format, not just portals. So visit www.conveyor.com to learn more. That is CONVEYOR.com.
Okay, a couple things. Number one, shout out to Alex Ansberg's passing the CISM. Congratulations. Huge GRC accomplishment. I love it. Great cert to have. A lot of market value. Also, Matthew Hibbert. Jerry, come back. You can blame it all on me. Jerry, come back. All right, hey, for real though, shout out to Andrewsy talking about what's a Simply Cyber show without technical difficulties. The wireless kicked out. We'll continue crashing on. But right now, let's blow the copyright out. Everybody, Alpha Sierra knows what we're doing. All right. Shout out to all you guys. Thanks so much for being here. I do appreciate it. I got to tell you, I just told the mods, like, I love this community. You guys, it's so good. It's just thank you so much for making every day a real treat and being able to be part of this community and be able to serve you guys. It's just so, it really fills my cup. So coffee cup cheers to all y'all. Shout out to the stream sponsors, Barricade, ThreatLocker, Antisyphon, and Delete Me. Let me say something. Let me pay for that premium wireless upgrade here really quick by telling you about Delete Me. 1 second. I got to hold the microphone too, so I'm like basically a one-handed monkey up here dancing. Okay, hey, check it out. Shout out, guys, to Delete Me. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone invulnerable, including you, Space Tacos and Ready Leader One and Matthew Hibbert. Data brokers make a profit off our data. Your data is a commodity, and anyone on the web can buy your private details, and this can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. But now you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. As someone with an active online presence, privacy is really important to me. I travel a lot for work. I have a wife. I have kids. I want to protect my family. And like my home address is something I don't want people to know unless I choose to have them know. So, Delete Me can help basically manage that information and make it difficult, if not possible, to be bought by data brokers. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me now at a special discount for listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/simplycyber and use promo code simplycyber at checkout. That's the only way to get 20% off is go to joindeleteme.com/simplycyber and enter code simplycyber. That's joindeleteme.com/simplycyber, code simplycyber. All right. Every day of the week has a special segment, and oh my gosh, and Fridays is none other than Dad Joke of the Week. James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet. If today's your first time and you didn't know that this is happening, it's happening. James is a community member. Love this guy. Here we go. Why did James at 35,000 feet put a paper map in his shoes? I don't know. Why did James put a paper map in his shoes? So he could take steps in the right direction. Oh my God. All right. What did one tectonic plate say to another when they bumped into each other? Code Brew, what did one tectonic plate say to the other when they bumped into each other? My fault. All right. And what kind of music do electricians listen to? Oh, if you didn't know this is an interesting fact. Plumbers have their own thing. Carpenters have their own thing. Electricians, what they listen to, it's not shocking, but it's AC/DC. But what about any current music? What about any current music will work too? Oh my God, that was layers on layers. That was like a 7-layer Cheesecake Factory German forest cake of jokes right there, James McQuiggan. All right, thank you so much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed those. Do me a favor. Get ready to feel the la-la-las wash over you. Alpha Sierra leads us off. Let's do it. You know the words, everybody. Best part of the show. Nice, nice. All right. I love people piling in on the dad jokes. Love it, love it. All right, let's finish strong, y'all, and get to the jawjacking.
Belgian Telecom suffers cyber attack. Just a month after its parent company Orange Group detected a cyber attack, the Belgian subsidiary Orange Telecom announced this week that it too had discovered a cyber attack at the end of July. This attack compromised data from 850,000 customer accounts. The company said that no critical data such as passwords, email addresses, banking, or financial details were compromised, but did warn that customer telephone numbers, SIM card numbers, PUK codes, and tariff plans had been accessed. PUK codes are personal unblocking key codes, an 8-digit security code that allows customers to unblock their SIM cards if they enter the wrong PIN multiple times. Business Council of New York State announces data breach.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, so a couple things. One, this Belgian company got hit, okay, and they had a data breach. This is like a whatever story. Like every day we have data breaches and stuff like that. A couple things that I wanted to call out really quickly as nuance, because you probably heard it, and I feel like a lot of people don't take a moment to like think through this part. This company said in a statement, no critical data was compromised. No critical data was compromised. Now, they do go on to qualify that with passwords, emails, banking, financials, etc. But I want to call your attention to critical here. This is a qualifying statement. Critical is the type of data they're saying wasn't compromised. Critical is a subjective term. I've been in this industry for 20 years. I am not aware of a universal standard for what is defined as critical data. And I call your attention to this because this is where you can get into some silly wordplay with PR responses. And, you can choose to use this for your own advantage in your own situations or not. But general counsel is definitely going to be involved. And when you say no critical data was compromised, you could literally define critical data as healthcare records only, or, and you work in manufacturing, you're like, oh, no critical data was compromised. Like, again, you start getting into like really gray areas where if you have passwords, like that is sensitive, but I wouldn't call it critical. To me, sensitive has a definition of it shouldn't be disclosed to other people, right? It's sensitive, right? That's why you protect it. Critical, that's super subjective, right? So anyways, that's just one thing I want to point out to everybody. The other thing here is they say this data was involved, the name, telephone number, all that stuff. Like, all that stuff sucks, and that's just what, like, you can get in data dumps now as it is. You can't really change anything. The inclusion of that PUK code, I had never heard of a PUK code before, but what comes to mind immediately is that is a unique code that is distributed to individuals that allows them to do something, unlock their SIM card. Now, this could be weaponized by a threat actor to SIM swap or whatever, but for me, like, this is going to be if they choose to do this right, this is going to be a major pain in the butt. But what this company should do is invalidate or revoke all of those codes and issue new ones to those users and communicate it to them in some out-of-band way, like send them a letter or something like that. Imagine, if you will, like your ATM pin or any pin got compromised and the company's like, all that data's out there, like, good luck. You would expect it to be revoked and reissued. I don't know why they wouldn't do this. So just be mindful of that. When you see, it sucks, but I'm not going to change my name. I'm not going to change my telephone number. I wouldn't expect the company to change my telephone number, but they control that PUK code, and it is a sensitive piece of information. So I would expect them to change that. And if they don't, I think that that's actually negligent of them. Hold on 1 second. I've got so many windows open. It's like hard to manage this.
The council, which lobbies for business interests in the state legislature and promotes economic development, says the February attack, quote, gave hackers access to sensitive information on more than 47,000 people, end quote. The stolen data includes PII, social security numbers, state ID numbers, payment card numbers, PINs, as well as expiration dates, taxpayer identification numbers, and electronic signature information. Some also had medical data released, including information on diagnoses, prescriptions, treatments, procedures, and health insurance.
All right. You'll have to apologize. Grant me some grace. I was like sending jawjacking links to a couple different people there. All right. Again, dude, like, hello. Today's a day that ends in Y. A bunch of people had their data hacked. 47,000 people. All right. Socials, IDs, financial account, routing numbers. Yep. Pins. Okay. See, pins. That's not good. That's sensitive. Tax IDs. Ugh. So basically, this data set can result in financial fraud being committed. And this was the Business Council of New York State. New York, city is in New York State. New York is a financial capital, one of the financial capitals in the world. So the way I read that is there's incredibly wealthy people all up in the New York space. So I would imagine that if it were me, I wouldn't want to be on this list if I was a high value individual, because if it were me, I would just take this 47,329 person list. Since it has financial information, I'd write a script or something. Like, basically try to figure out, like, if you can search these people online, if they're large enough to have like an online presence, and basically find out who's the wealthiest of like these 47,000 people, top 50 wealthiest, and then use this information to weaponize it. So for those individuals, if you're involved with this goes beyond just like, oh, someone's trying to like do identity theft and get some whatever as me. This could have financial ruin for individuals and or businesses as well. Again, as a threat actor, you only have, like, you're human, right? So you only have so much time, so much resources. So if you're going to try to be a successful cyber criminal and make the most amount of money, which I would assume money is the motivator for the criminals, you'd want to make sure that your time is spent getting the juiciest targets, right? Like, seriously, would you go fish in a lake that's full of fish, or would you go fish in a lake that's got some fish, right? You're going to spend 2 hours on the lake one way or the other. Why not go to the one that's fully loaded so you catch as much fish as possible? Shout out to the upstate, South Carolina, with all their lakes. Anyways, yeah, there's nothing for you to do here. As an individual protecting your business, you can point to this as an example, but dude, like, you can like fall down and hit an example of like a data breach, and there's no information here on how the hackers did it, what their TTPs were, what are the indicators of compromise so you can protect your organization. This is just like a puff piece about, these people got hit.
Flipper Zero can now turn anyone into one of the Kia boys. Just about a year ago, we reported on a story detailing how the famous ethical hacker's go-to tool, the Flipper Zero, can be used to steal Tesla cars by simply opening the doors electronically. An article from 404 Media shows that the technology can now be used on a much wider selection of car models from companies such as Ford, Audi, Volkswagen, Subaru, Hyundai, Kia, and others. And also that newbie thieves are able to crack the Flipper Zero software, meaning that they do not have to pay to access the tool. The tool...
All right. I mean, Flipper Zero had its day in the sun about 2 years ago when it first dropped on the scene. But these things are cool. I mean, for me, the Flipper Zero, I'm not a physical security pen tester. It's kind of fun to have, open my garage door, change the channel at the bar on the TV. But like, for the most part, it's a gag gift. Now, these threat actors are able to weaponize it and unlock your car. I don't know if they can start the car. But yeah, no, this is not good. Again, what the heck? Jesus, why is that on? There was a really inappropriate. Here, let me slide quick. That was not suitable for Simply Cyber. What just showed up there? Okay, so number one, this doesn't affect businesses, so we're not driving cyber risk reduction for our stakeholders. This is an individual situation. If you are driving one of these cars, Subaru, which is quite popular, Volkswagen, Ford, these are like major brands. Basically you could get got. I would just remind everybody, like, this isn't cool if you live in a city, like an area where you're likely to have a higher a higher likelihood of attack. This doesn't mean that rural South Dakota wouldn't have somebody buy a Flipper Zero. These are accessible to everybody. They're pretty cheap, like $100. I don't think you're going to be able to handle this. So, I mean, if you want, two things you can do with this. One, you could actually just flip this. There's going to be videos on YouTube that come out. Like Ryan Montgomery, 0 Day, he does this all the time. Makes cool videos, does a lot of Flipper Zero stuff. At some point, there's going to be a video to support this. You could send this to your workforce or to your family and just say, hey, be on the lookout of this. You can't really stop it. The only thing you can do is make sure you don't leave valuables in your car. So it's like effectively imagining that your car's unlocked all the time. I don't think you can start it and steal it, but unfortunately, they can definitely get into it, and you can't stop it. So
Also locks legitimate owners out of their cars. According to the article, 404 Media journalists contacted all of the vehicle manufacturers mentioned in the hackers' recently released document. Most manufacturers, quote, did not provide a statement on whether they were aware of the attack or what they were doing to mitigate it. Ford declined to comment, end quote.
yeah, and just another thing with this, like if this is being reported now, this is going to go wide. This is like one of those really like interesting and kind of sexy and accessible to all skill levels type thing. They did talk about having to like crack the Flipper Zero. I don't understand that. There's all sorts of custom firmwares and malicious firmwares out there already. So I don't know if it's like unlocking some type of like radio capability or pushing it beyond its thing, like overclocking your CPU. But whatever it is, there's going to be tutorials out there soon on how to do this, and then videos, and then it's going to become, you're going to see it on like Dateline or whatever. So you heard it here first.
Hackers use Quirky Loader to spread malware. Researchers from IBM X-Force are warning of a new malware loader called Quirky Loader, as one word, being used to deliver information stealers and remote access Trojans via email spam campaigns. In fact, this has been going on since November 2024. The attacks, quote, involve sending spam emails from both legitimate email service providers and a self-hosted email server, and these emails feature a malicious archive which contains a DLL, an encrypted payload, and a real executable, end quote. The DLL loader has only been used in limited campaigns thus far, chiefly targeting Taiwan and Mexico.
All right, so if you're in Mexico, Taiwan, you might want to look out for this. Essentially, again, if we think about the cyber kill chain and where can we put in protections and detections, this, you get email, again, I can't believe people fall for this. You get emailed an attachment that's an archive, like a zip file, I assume a zip or RAR. And then you download it onto your box, and then you open it, and then you have to run a legit executable. Like so many, like there's so many red flags along the lines of this that like it stuns me that people get this far. But okay, so then once you run the executable, it'll it loads a malicious DLL. Now it doesn't say it here, but I assume the DLL is also in the archive, because how else would the malicious DLL get on the box? So I assume that's why they've archived it. Number one is to protect it from being read by email security gateway. Number two, so they can bundle all their together. I don't know if this is a side load attack or whatever, but basically it loads that malicious DLL. The payload is encrypted, which means number one, it can't be scanned, right? So like when it gets written to disk, like EDR or whatever, the email gateway, it can't read it, even if it tries to blow up the archive, because it's a legitimate executable that's being run. The analysis engine would have to go layers deeper. You'd basically have to open a sandbox and detonate it, and then see that encrypted payload get decrypted. So that is what's happening. Soon as that encrypted payload detonates, your EDR solution, it's kind of like a race to the kernel, right? As Paul Imey put it yesterday, to get in there and basically kill that process before it kills the EDR. And then essentially, you can see here, if it does successfully execute, it goes into that target process. If you're not running EDR, obviously it's going to win. What does it do? It does a whole bunch of things. You can see in the this cool little graphic here. Basically puts in a rat, remote access Trojan, the async rat, so it can, hold on 1 second here. You can basically run this rat. That way the threat actor can come and go as they please, do C2 stuff. They have Snake Keylogger, a very, very effective info stealer, basically pulling tokens and pulling clipboard, keystrokes, all those things. And then, of course, Agent Tesla for the trifecta, right? You can also see this Quirky Loader does form book, mass logger, Remco's rat. The interesting thing with modern malware is that it's quite modular. So you can change like what pieces get put where. So when it goes to pull that second stage payload, if you change what the payload is, it'll pull down that new payload. So depending on what you want to do as a threat actor, you can choose your own adventure. Also, you can, if you're selling this as a service, different threat actors are going to have different needs. So they might want to pull down different malware and payloads. The idea here is that you get the asset compromised, and then you start pulling down what you want and doing the bad stuff. IBM X-Force is the one who's reporting on this. IBM X-Force is definitely in that category to me of threat intelligence research groups like Cisco, Talos, IBM X-Force, Palo Alto Unit 42 that just do great work. And when they publish something, Google Tag's another one. When they publish something, like I take it as legit, and I want to read it, and I want to, give it its room to breathe, as you were. All right, check it out now. Where are we at? Let's hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm dealing with so much non-real estate on my screen. It's like brutal. Here we go. You're gonna recognize this sound. All right, y'all. Holla, 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 holla. Guys, don't go anywhere because, well, hold on. First of all, thank you so much. This was Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief, Friday, August 26th, episode 947, coming to you from the remote studio with the janky Wi-Fi. I want to let everybody know really quick, this just dropped about 30 minutes ago.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the channel.
You might recognize this dude right here. This is our very own Code Brew community member. By the way, love the Simply Cyber shirt you're wearing in the photo. This is a full CTF walkthrough of last year's Simply CyberCon CTF. It's still available on TryHackMe as far as I know. So, and shout out to TryHackMe for working with us. So if you'd like to see how a CTF can be solved, if you've been interested in CTFs and just kind of nervous about doing it, feeling a little imposter syndrome, go check out Code Brew's walkthrough here. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. He's great people. And Code Brew, thanks for doing that. Okay, really quick, guys, we've got Jawjacking coming up. It is Friday, which means we're going to be running a panel. I already see the panelists starting to pile in here, which is absolutely wicked cool. Some familiar faces. We might have some new faces as well. 2 new people have been sent the link, so we'll see how that goes. And we're going to crack on, but just remember that at 9:30 a.m., where is he? James McQuiggan. This guy right here. James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet. FedEx is his guest on Simply Secured. This is a really great podcast. We've been getting wonderful reception from the community around James's podcast and just how well done it is and how interesting and informative it is. So we're going to roll over on that at 9:30. I'm going to have to boogie out because I have to go to a conference that started in 7 minutes. But let's do it. All right. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. We're going to do some jawjacking. Ever wonder what it takes to break into cybersecurity? Join us every weekday for Jawjacking, where industry experts answer your burning questions about the cybersecurity field. Live, unfiltered, and totally free. Let's level up together. It's time for some Jawjacking. All right. Hey, welcome to Jawjacking, everybody. This is an AMA panel style show for 30 minutes. If you have any questions, drop them in chat with a Q. the reason we do a panel is because there's just so much knowledge, so much experience, and we bring a panel so you guys can ask all sorts of questions and get the best answers. Let me introduce the panel right now. You know him as Daniel Lowry. Daniel Lowry knows himself as Daniel Lowry. Definitely knows a lot on the offensive side of things. He knows a bunch of things, but if you have offensive questions, Daniel can certainly help you. Next up, yawning and getting up quite early on the West Coast, my friend Wade Wells. How you doing, Wade?
What's up? Oh yeah, my mic's like I'm not even prepared. Yeah.
This guy. All right. Hey, if you have questions around blue team SOC, detection engineering, and things in that space, threat intelligence, Wade Wells has got you covered. Definitely knows a lot more about other things, but it's kind of where we're focusing in. And a newcomer to the Jawjacking panel, Daniel, Wade, and community. I'd like to introduce you. He was recently on Simply ICS Cyber as a guest. He also is the director for B-Sides Greenville. So Wade Wells is also a director for B-Sides, so they can vibe on that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce Mike Holcomb. Mike, how you doing?
Hey, everybody. How are you? Hey.
Good to see you. So if you have ICS or OT questions, Mike can definitely answer those and bring some insight, as well as all sorts of other amazing things in the community. I present you your panel. Just to confirm, no echoing, guys. Is that accurate right now? All right, cool. All right, so let's get going. First question, Scole07 says, is GitHub or Medium better for documenting home labs and projects? Mike Holcomb, welcome to the party, pal. What do you think as far as documenting projects? Do you like GitHub, Medium, or some other platform?
I'm a big fan of GitHub. For me, just personally, it's practical. I just want to be able to get it out and share with people. Go to Medium to check something out. There's like a pop-up that wants me to log in. I think Medium can be great if you want to write a lot of long articles and share with folks. That's just not me for any longer. So, I want to drop tools, practical things you can use, infographics. So I use GitHub so people can just go there and they can download it and move on with their day.
I love it. Also worth noting, when you put a GitHub link on your resume, like the person reading the resume doesn't know if you have code there or if you have articles or if you have tools or whatever. So from like a human condition of like causing intrigue, I feel like people are more likely to want to go check out your GitHub. I mean, the reasons Mike outlined are also true, but like you might be like, oh, it's like Medium, it's clearly a blog, right? GitHub, it could be a bunch of things. Daniel, you got something to add on there?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw this in there. LinkedIn has LinkedIn articles, which lets you do long form articles like blog posts and things of that nature, add graphics and do that kind of stuff as well. So if you want to hit your LinkedIn audience, kind of grow that LinkedIn connections, you never know who's watching, who's going to see it, then gets a connection with you. You start to build your network out a little bit more, and they can see that on the professional side. So if you want to have some fun, yeah, like I love GitHub. For all the same reasons Mike was just saying, like it's just so easy to be able to drop all that stuff in there and go, cool, I have a repo, go check it out. I use that kind of thing all the time. But if you want to kind of go that Medium route without all the headache that you get with Medium, like Mike was saying, then I would suggest maybe looking at LinkedIn articles as well.
Yeah, definitely, and own the content too, right? So like if you post it on LinkedIn, make sure you capture it somewhere else too, like even if it's just in a notebook or something, so you can reuse it if you ever LinkedIn goes away. Next question coming at you, Wade Wells. Kyle wants to know, what threat intel learning or training do you recommend? And why don't you list a couple, because one of them.
Yeah. Besides my own. So when I did create my own, I did take probably 5 or 8 different intel classes to figure out what other people are teaching and what actually is worthwhile. So my thesis for my master's project was there's no good, cheap cyber threat intel courses. They're all either very good, very expensive, or very cheap, very shitty. But there's a couple out there that I would say that fit that happy medium. One of them was TryHackMe. So TryHackMe has a bunch of threat intel boxes, but you need to know what threat intel is because they're not in a path. So there's a couple MITRE ATT&CK, right? There is a threat intel one. There's a couple different OSINT ones. There's TTPs and stuff like that, or the Pyramid of Pain. Another great one is there's a company called MAD20. So MAD20 does do certifications for MITRE ATT&CK. I would not recommend doing their certifications. I'd recommend going to their YouTube channel and watching it all for free. That is the better one. And lastly, MITRE on their website actually has a threat intel course that Katie Nichols actually created, and it's completely free.
Yeah, and Katie Nichols, definitely one of the really respected.
Yeah,
senior,
she's
practitioners.
top. I would say top notch, one of the best well known threat intel people at least, and really gives back to the community.
Yeah, she's awesome. And really quickly, Wade, since you do have a training, I have taken Wade's threat intelligence course.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I made a video about it, right? Did I?
Yeah, you made a video about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, that's how many videos I've made. I don't even know. But if you haven't, if you'd like to take it, Wade, where can they find your threat intel? And this is like a really good course that's also quite affordable.
Yeah. So my threat intel course is the only 1-day course on Antisyphon. It's at least as far as I'm aware of still. It's also on the Blue Team Summit, so I will be teaching it next Thursday. It's an 8-hour course. It's really comparable to a SANS course in that I force feed you everything threat intel for 8 hours, where I've been told it's too much and I need to move to 2 days. And I've been telling myself I'm going to make it 2 days, but I don't want to. But eventually I will. So if you go to Antisyphon, was it antisyphontraining.com or is it Antisyphon Training or one of those, and you go to the Blue Team, you go to the Blue Team Summit and pick my course. I'll probably teach it again. I'm currently not teaching it at Way West or Wild West, just because I'm not able to go on site, but I'm trying to work on that to see if I can do one virtually for that too.
All right, thank you so much. And just really quick to share it with everyone, this is what it'll look like. I will drop the link in chat. This is Wade's training, and this is the one for Blue Team Summit next 5 days from now. So definitely giddy up on that. Thanks for the question, Kyle. And thanks Wade for the great answer. Really quick, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say thanks for the free publicity. I don't talk about it enough.
I know you don't. Mike Holcomb, Fight Like Wolves is 5 exclamation points excited that you're here. So thanks, Mike, for being here. It's good to see you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we got to finally meet in person last night, and I appreciate the invite, and it's great to see. Daniel, we were just kind of chatting on LinkedIn like right before DEF CON, which was really cool, and it's good to see B-Side San Diego in the house. So
yeah,
definitely,
yeah,
real excited to be here.
I love it. I'm looking. So I did turn my microphone up. I think people are like, I think everybody's microphone's good except mine, which is like totally on brand for me. So, by the way, Mike, welcome to the party. I have audio video issues like all the time.
Oh,
that's
you can
experience.
You see, I'm in the hotel too, probably right down the street from you. So that's.
I love it. Silence Poet says taking Jerry's course on speaking to leadership this weekend. My XM Cyber course, so this is a course around how to present to the board and speak effectively. What are some other ways to sharpen your ability to translate tech? So, Mike, let's throw this to you. Like, you have to speak to the business, right? You're trying to convince them to, like, invest money or take something serious or whatever. Even if you're speaking to, like, field engineers, not leadership or whatever, what are some techniques you have that help with communication?
I think the big lesson that I had learned that you really have to, and I would always hear, like, you have to think like that executive, right? If you're talking to maybe like the CTO, a CIO, maybe the CFO, right? You have to think like them. You have to be able to understand like what the chief financial officer wants to know and about revenue. And for me, it's like, well, I'm not a finance person. Like, how do I connect with this person? And I would try to learn what they're thinking about. But what I actually found was, sure, you can learn and try to learn as much as possible. And this is even if, like, you go to talk with a field technician or an engineer, right? You can learn at a high level a little bit of their world. But honestly, the best way to connect with them is questions. So I had to get over that feeling of feeling stupid by asking probably what would come across as simple questions. But I found out that once I started asking those questions and asking, what's important to you? Tell me about your job. Tell me about what you think our security is, right? how does cybersecurity play in your world? All of a sudden, you start asking those questions, and it shows that you're interested in how you can help them. And that, honestly, that's changed the world, whether I am talking with a CFO or a CEO or an engineer or a technician in a plant. It's, you can ask those questions and you can just kind of be just two people having a conversation, at the end of the day, make that connection, and it really opens up the world to be able to actually then make those next steps. And it's like, oh, here's how we more sure today than.
I love it. Next question coming in hot to Daniel Lowry, piggybacking on S. Cole 07's question. I'm going to rephrase this one a little bit, Daniel, but what are your, you do a ton of training, you do tons of helping people learn stuff. I know you're working on a course right now. When you're building home lab stuff, VirtualBox for a lab or VMware for a lab or Proxmox, right? What are your thoughts around building these virtual environments? Just a couple hot takes.
Oh yeah, I mean every single one of them. Of course, I got a frog in my throat trying to keep me from telling you the answer to this thing. Every single one of them have their issues. They got their quirks. You're gonna have to deal with things from time to time. You can either deal with the headache of Broadcom and how they work and what they do. God only knows what goes in the minds of the people that are running Broadcom right now. But VMware Workstation is a fairly robust product. It still works really well. It does still have a few quirks and everything. And of course, there's those certain generations of Intel chips that don't like to play nice. And then you go, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll jump over to VirtualBox, but VirtualBox has its own fun little set of things that go on. And it's really kind of I probably would land on the side of, if you were going to go full stack, SIEM, IDS, EDR, that kind of thing, I'd probably hit up a Proxmox. You'd want to go with that type one. You're going to get a bit more stability. You're going to get a little bit more networking, but you're going to also have a little more complexity when it comes to setup and working with it. But you don't seem to be too afraid of that if you're playing around with all these little devices. So that's a good thing, right? So if you are going this level, I would probably recommend using Proxmox. If you're just kind of standing stuff up to see how it works and get your hands dirty a little bit, get your feet wet, then yeah, I would probably go with VMware. I use VMware Workstation a lot. I think it works really well.
Wade Wells had multiple facial expressions during that response, Daniel, ranging from fear to shock to excitement to agreement. Wade, why don't you vocalize your inner monologue?
As someone who home labs a lot, enough where my home lab blew up and I've just been letting it sit there. Proxmox is great, but the overhead of learning it is so much harder than VMware. It is not intuitive whatsoever. As someone who's in cyber, it took me substantial research to figure out how to get Proxmox to work and why it works, or just the buttons and stuff like that. Yeah, it works now, but it was definitely a learning curve, whereas in ESXi or VMware Workstation was much simpler, as well as being able to interface with your VMs and stuff like that. The one thing is, and then you have to deal with Broadcom. That's the huge negative.
I would also check out Ludus, Ludus, Ludus.
Ooh, okay.
It is a lab environment. It is meant for labbing and doing lots of stuff. Very useful, very powerful. It is built on top of Debian and Proxmox, and it's a fairly straightforward install. And when you're done, it's just you just spin up these environments, and it's really cool stuff. So I would check that out as well.
I'm gonna say go a completely different way. Go containers. Learn how containers work.
Right,
that'll be
Another
it's
great
far
option.
easier. You will probably learn less because you don't have to set up as much. But it'll spin up much quicker, and you'll have to learn how containers work, which is a little bit harder, but it far easier setting up a lab with that.
There you go. I like it. I do like it. Throwing it to Mike here, Cyber Risk Witch. Let's do around the horn, kind of 60 seconds each. How do you unwind, Mike? You're a busy dude. You're working. You're cruising. You're on travel right now for work, right? When you want to kick your feet up, what are you doing, bud?
Yeah. So unwinding. I try to actually do a little personal fun reading these days. Trying to. I back to playing War seasonal campaign, and then my girlfriend and I, we try to do a little travel, and not do something too crazy. But so yeah, that's pretty much it. And other than that, it's making content for LinkedIn and YouTube, and that's kind of I actually have a lot of fun with that, probably more than video games these days. So that's my unwind, believe it or not.
I love it. What's your YouTube channel name, Mike, so people can go subscribe?
Yeah, it's a Utilsec, so UTILSEC, or if you search for Mike Holcomb, but it's all OTICS cybersecurity content, and there's I think 50 hours of free courses there for everything from learning the basics to OSINT for ICS, and I just actually launched the pen testing for OTICS environments course, which I'm really excited about. So
yeah, I'll bring that channel up.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll bring that channel up and drop a link in chat in just a minute. This is not like React videos. This is actually like super cyber education videos. So I love it. Daniel, besides cracking Monster Energy, what are you doing to relax, dude?
Man, what's this downtime of which you speak? I've never heard of it. Sounds interesting. I got to look into that. No. You know me, everyone. I'm probably putting my hands on one of these things from time to time. That's how this kid likes to relax, hear the dulcet tones.
Daniel, how many pedals?
So I went completely digital a few years ago.
Okay.
So I just have a digital effects unit, and it has all the pedals I need.
All right, I like it, and I ask about the pedals. I don't know anything about the pedals. I know.
Oh
that,
yeah, I used to have a whole board full of pedals, and I was like, man, this has got to be easy, because if one patch cable goes out or something like that, and it's a pain. And it's nice to be able to have exactly what it is you want, but then with the digital stuff, you get a variety. You can kind of change things up. You can move your tone around and go, you know what, I feel like getting frisky, trying something different. Let's put this on and see what that does. Ooh, that's weird. And then you get creative, and it kind of sparks something. That could correlate over into IT as well. Move into some area that you're not really familiar with, just to see if it turns up any new creativity inside of you. It's always a good idea to kind of like shift around a little bit, try something new, get outside of your comfort zone.
I love it. There you go. So good advice. Wade, what are you doing to unwind, my man?
I'm a glutton for pain. So I've been paintballing a lot lately.
Ah, very nice.
I got told I need to wear pads, but I don't want to. So I just go in a t-shirt and shorts because it's hot. And but I'm usually playing. It's a little bit less like speedball, if you guys know that. It's a mag-fed paintball guns. So the fire back and forth is a little bit different, where you have to actually think, okay, I may run out of paintballs while I'm playing. And then I read. I've been reading a lot of comic books lately, actually. Since Rekka Comics kind of got me into it, I'm now reading like Batman Returns, and then The Last Ronin, which is another one, as well as just like building Legos with my son. Yeah, I don't know how many airplanes and helicopters I've made for different designs, but it's a lot.
I love it. That's awesome, dude. I do love the doing things with your kids. I just dropped a link to Mike's YouTube channel. It looks just like this if you want to subscribe to it. If you go to the playlist, that's where you can find these full classes on ITOCS security and pen testing and such. Definitely great value, Mike. Thank you for doing that. And for me, unwinding, I daydream about playing Baldur's Gate 3.
One day we'll play Baldur's Gate 3.
Goal. Yes. Germano Moser says, switching from graphic design to SOC. Really enjoy the learning path. Subscribe to Try Hack Me to get hands-on. Besides Try Hack Me, what would you recommend? Regards from Portugal. Well, definitely thank you. Just really quick, I want to get Wade's take on this, since he, basically trains people to work in SOCs. Make sure you have your fundamentals, dude, right? A lot of people want to jump. Like, that meme of the kid walking up the stairs, and he's taking like 6 stairs at one time. Like, you have to do fundamentals. You have to understand how computers work. You have to understand how networking works, how things get written to, you don't have to understand like computer architecture, but like you do have to understand like what a process is and how, memory gets loaded and stuff like that. And then, you'll be able to do SOC stuff. Besides Try Hack Me, Wade, what would you tell like an aspiring SOC analyst?
All the training's out there for free. Like, theoretically, you don't have to pay for anything. The hard part is setting up the labs to do stuff. Especially for a SOC analyst, I would really recommend KC7, which is a great one, right? So that's like it's a more of a threat hunting slash how to do alerts within Cusco. I believe Cusco, that's what it is. As well as the other one, a counter to that is, I would say, the boss of the SOC. If you look up that's actually Splunk's version of it. It's free online. If you go to actual either KC7's completely free, boss of the SOC is completely free with Splunk. Those two are like literally, if you were to take those two classes, that was probably like the first 3 years of my career.
There you go. That's amazing advice. Thanks, Wade, so much for that. That's cool, man. I appreciate it. Mike, Shane says, what environment did you set up LabShock?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, for folks that don't know LabShock is really the first OT or ICS. When we talk about OT or ICS, if you're not familiar, we're talking about operational technology or industrial control systems. So think the computers that make things move in the real world, like in a power plant or a water treatment facility. And so there's a gentleman by the name of Zachar Bernhardt. He's out of Germany, that he had created this virtual environment that is containerized. So we were talking about containers earlier, and you can deploy it on a Windows machine in like just 2 or 3 minutes. It takes 30 seconds to spin up, and you have a full functional virtual OT environment that you can not only learn to do things like pen testing, right, to attack the environment. It simulates a oil pumping station. So if you have like these large tanks of oil from an oil refinery, and you need to move that onto things like container ships to be shipped overseas for sale. But you can pen test that environment. But it also originally was actually built from more of a blue team or a defensive perspective. So Zachar had originally built a SIM platform for OT. So think for SOC, for OT. And that's something that's still very new in the OT world. And so he built that platform, but realized he didn't have anything to feed events to it. And so he actually built out this entire environment. So now you have a SIM platform for OT. You have an entire OT environment. He even has an instance of Kali Linux built into it. So it's like this full-fledged environment. And that's actually some of the videos I'm going to be publishing on YouTube coming up. We'll actually have a walkthrough for that. But Zachar has his own YouTube channel. So if you just search for LabShock, you'll find it, and he's got a lot of great content there that shows off the platform and how to use it. But yeah, for me, I just ran it on a Windows box. It took maybe 10 minutes to install it. I did Docker first. There's a walkthrough, quick, painless, done in like 10 minutes, start to finish, which was awesome.
Man, Mike's dropping all these bombs over here. Like, I'm going to have, like, I already want to take this OSINT for ICS, right? And, like, I worked at a power company. That was, like, my second cyber job. Dude, getting ICS alerts was absolutely horrible.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine, especially even the SOC world and defense and OT is very strange. It's very different than IT. In many respects, there's a lot of similarities, but yeah, the alerts are very different. And I come from an IT cyber background, so when I first moved into OT, if you start looking at these alerts, you're like, "That's an attack! That's an attack! That's an attack!" And like, no, that's actually how the plant works. so it's definitely a different world.
One day we had someone throw us a stuck, like, "Hey, this alert came in," and we're looking at it, and it's like Stuxnet, and we're like, "What? What the heck is going on? Like, what triggered?" We press the red button. Everyone runs in, comes in. The dude who sent us the alert, he went to dinner. And when he comes back, we're like, "Hey, like, what's going on?" Like, we figure it out. He goes into it, like, goes into the ICS network, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that was a scanner." And I was like, we just pressed the red button for that. Like, everyone, it was, to this day, I saw him later on and I yelled at him, but.
But in a lot of control system environments. Oh, it's like, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say the fact that he set that alert and then went to dinner is like,
yeah,
it like frustrates me. But Mike, what were you saying about ICS?
I was going to say in most ICS environments, active scanners like Nmap are prohibited. So actually, if you did see that type of activity, that would throw up a red flag that everybody would be, scrambling around trying to figure out what was going on, because a lot of at least older and even some newer equipment in OT environments, they can't understand kind of just packets that aren't structured appropriately or that they're not expecting. And so Nmap, like with service scans, script scans, you can generate just a lot of kind of garbage from an OT system perspective. So when it gets those packets, they could crash or they could literally brick to where you have to physically replace them. So there's always concerns about doing scanning in OT.
It was an IDS that triggered it, a popular like IDS tool that triggered that, and it was a scanner that was not even scanning that network, but it was inside the ICS network. It was that same power company. I did see a power plant go offline for a scan too as well. So interesting times, fun place to work.
It does, right? Nobody wants a blackout, right? And take power offline for tens of thousands of people, let alone you could have safety issues, right? What if there was some type of explosion at a plant, or somebody just got hurt, or a damaged environment that could happen, it's a petrochemical facility. That's a lot of concerns.
Yeah, I don't know if you really have the ability to have like a test environment, a dev environment, like a separate facility altogether where you get to like run these things. So yeah, it's very, very serious. All right, really absolutely. Quick, I do want to say shout out. I just want to give some recognition to this because it was a silly thing. For those who didn't know, I actually recorded a rap. Seriously, and I don't know if you saw that, Wade. I put it on LinkedIn. I rapped over Tribe Called Quest. And it was a response to Joe Hudson's challenge. I guess Tyler Ramsby freestyled last night in response to me tagging him. So there's like a little sub thing going on with the community around rapping. You will not hear me rap live at Wild West Hackin' Fest. So the people who've been asking, it's not happening. All right, really quick, Daniel Lowry, you whipped out your guitar. Patrick Moss wants to know if you got a playlist on Spotify. I don't know if it's your content or a playlist that you like. Either one, we'll take it.
So I only recently have signed up for Spotify because I filled in for Jerry and I put in the one song that he uses for the daily fret breathe. I've never used Spotify.
Oh my God.
I just play the music or I pull it up on YouTube or something, I don't have playlists. I don't sit around listening to music. It's too distracting for me. I get too focused on the music. I know for most people, it's like a nice ambiance, but my mind goes, music? Cool. So I can't have music going on throughout the day. It'll distract me.
All right. I appreciate that. And I'll tell you really quickly, I'm going to share a playlist. I made a playlist for the community. It's actually on my 2025 conference stickers, but I'll share that with everybody. Just a little tidbits Tuesday. I don't know if you guys want to talk about this or not, but I was such a diehard Pandora user. I loved Pandora over Spotify. And Spotify eventually won me over, and now I'm fully on Spotify. And I don't even know if Pandora's still around, but Pandora really did a good job of introducing you to music that's adjacent to the music you're currently listening to, so you could find new artists. So I was diehard on Pandora, but they just really screwed the pooch. Spotify kicked their butt. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. All right, AIW Minigan says, you're in a senior analyst role and you want to get into a leadership role, and I think this is a tricky one. They don't want to manage people. They want to manage processes and projects. You're going to have a tough time getting in a management role without people.
I'm going to disagree.
Okay, go ahead, Wade. Let's have it.
A lot of the times so you're going to have to find a company with a solid IC, like individual contributor track, right? That goes up. So think about somewhere that has a regular, senior, lead, staff, and then whatever that keeps going up. A lot of the times, anything above a lead where it goes into staff or principal, you're actually going to be running projects that affect the entire organization. So a couple organizations I know, a staff is technically the same level as a manager, runs projects, and actually doesn't deal with people. You deal with people where you have to delegate tasks and stuff like that, but as an HR people manager, you don't. Where then a principal is pretty much an individual contributor, but at a director level. They then have to deal with these huge projects and overarching different teams and stuff like that. So pretty much when you're looking for a company, ask them about their individual contributor track. Not everybody has that. It's a little bit more into the tech side of things.
Yes. And to qualify that, I agree. That was a great answer. You're going to see that at larger companies, Al, not smaller companies. Smaller companies are going to expect you to do all the things. Larger companies, like large consulting firms, might have that. I do want to qualify. So if you're talking about not managing people from an HR perspective, which is really can be problematic, yes, there is a way to do that. But you will not get away from people. You're not going to be able to be like a lone wolf and not touch people, not work with people, because when you have problems with process, when your project's going off the rails, when there's overspend, like it's a human that's been doing it, and you're going to have those conversations. So, yeah, that's it. Mike, actually, fun question for you. In the ICS OT world, is there more management of people or less management of people in the cyber realm? Because I feel like it's a lot of like field engineers running around moving physical systems and less of like, the business. But I don't know. I'm asking.
Yeah, no, you probably have a kind of the right idea there. In the OT world, there's still very few, like formalized cybersecurity roles in the OT world. So I think what you kind of are thinking of, when I go into like a manufacturing plant in South Carolina, like small, medium, large, is it really, you might have plant manager who's kind of oversees operations, make sure, right, their responsibility is make sure everything stays up and running. And then you have different engineers that are responsible for their areas of the plant, and then the different technicians that are really doing the work. And I think kind of like sysadmins in the IT world, and it's very rare to find somebody that actually focuses on cybersecurity. So it's more kind of like IT. Right, everybody's trying to keep everything up and running, and same thing in OT. So yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah, there's kind of that plant manager, and everybody underneath is right. That whole goal is to keep the plant up and running, producing whatever it is. Electricity. Maybe I'm manufacturing baseballs or Barbie dolls, right? Or clean water going out to the public, which is important. So yeah, it's interesting.
Last time I checked, that's super important for sure.
Right. Yeah, we like that. Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Really quick, we've only got a couple minutes left. I do want to go around the horn and, have people pump their stuff so people in chat can go get more Wade, more Daniel, more Mike. Really quick, since we have 3 minutes, I do want to just quickly – oh, thanks, Mike. Wade. I do want to just answer this question because several people in chat were saying they wanted this question answered and they like it, around how do you manage cyber and privacy and networking and privacy. I mean – it's like that sliding scale that Daniel and I always talk about. Like, the more you put yourself out there and build a personal brand, right, the more eyes are going to be on you, the more people are going to be interested in you, the more you're going to be disclosing. It's basically like an OPSEC thing. You have to make a personal decision on what's the ROI, right? Like, is building a personal brand and building a network and all these things in my best interest for my long-term goals or not? If it's yes, then keep going. If not, you can build community around your IRL, but you're still giving people around you more information about you, and you'll build it slower. So it's a balanced choice. Personally, I just try not to be really public about, like, I don't put my kids' faces on stream, for example, stuff like that. All right, really quick, let's go around the horn. Let's pump our stuff. Daniel, go first, please. Tell us what people can get more Daniel.
Well, you want a little more of this guy, you come check us out here in about, 30 minutes or so. We're going to be doing Cybercast IRL. Just a fun time for me and the chat. We just get together, we talk, we bring up news, we bring up anything that we like that's cyber related, and we talk about it. We also have Cybercast After Dark on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. That's Eastern time, by the way.
I was about to say, what time zone?
I love it. So I dropped a link to the Lab Shock, that training or that platform or training Mike was talking about. So if people want to giddy up on that. Also, Mike, if people want to get some more Mike in their life, What would you like to tell us about?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. Yeah, best places to find me are on LinkedIn. So just look for Mike Holcomb or MikeHolcomb.com, and that has links to the YouTube, LinkedIn, my training schedule. I do everything, on YouTube. I do live courses. That's all pay what you can. So anybody's welcome to come for free. Courses or yeah, check out the is on YouTube.
All right, and MikeHolcomb.com. I'll drop a link in chat right now to that. You can come check it out. It looks just like this, so get up on that. Wade, tell us, where can people get some Wade in their life?
Yeah, my training next week, Antisyphon. You can catch me on the news every now and then with BHIS. I won't be on next week because there's stuff in the news that I'm not allowed to talk about, and I don't want to be asked.
Very good.
But otherwise, if you're down in San Diego, you can catch me at some of the meetups down here.
I love it. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and raid over on Simply Secured, which just started. I do want to thank Mike Holcomb, Daniel Lowry, Wade Wells for being here today. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the Simply Secured. And if you're still looking to party, enjoy the Daniel Lowry IRL event that's coming up in just a minute. Hold on one second. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. Until next time, stay secure.